Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Victoria Garcia. I'm with the City of Rio Rancho Water Conservation Office. Today what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to talk about our wastewater treatment plants and actually how they work. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about it. I'll go through the process, and then secondly we'll learn how to become wastewater treatment operators. When you guys think of wastewater, what do you guys think of? There's many different things. Now, we're not talking about wasting water, we're actually talking about wastewater. So these are things that could possibly go down the drain or the toilet. So let's talk about some things that are acceptable to go down the toilet. Things that would be acceptable would be toilet paper, pee, poop. I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh, this is disgusting, but vomit, diarrhea, it all happens. It's all natural. Those are things that are acceptable to go down the drain, or at least the toilet. Now, in your sink, you don't want any type of big food particles to go down your sink if you have a garbage disposal. I know that a lot of people like to think that because you have a garbage disposal that it's okay to put a massive amount of food down the garbage disposal. And that is not okay. And the reason for that is because you have things that are actually stuck onto the food particles like fats, oils, and grease. And those things are not okay. If you put a mass amount of food down your garbage disposal, it can actually clog your sewer pipes or your drain pipes and actually cause the sewer backup coming back into your home. So that's not a good thing to do when you are disposing of any kind of food. So if you're disposing of cereal, let's just say you have a little bit of cereal that's kind of left over, you're going to want to kind of put your hand over the bowl if you can, a napkin, your spoon, kind of dispose of the liquid down the drain, and then dispose of the remaining cereal or any type of big food particles into your trash can. Now that we're talking about fats, oils, and grease, is it okay to dump any type of oil down the drain? Absolutely not. So when you're cooking bacon, there are several ways to dispose of the cooking oil from your bacon. And you can, a lot of people do it different ways. So you can take out your bacon, allow it to cool in the pan, and then wipe your pan clean with a napkin, and then dispose of the napkin. You can also remove the bacon, also dispose of it into a canister or container and allow it to cool. And sometimes people use that later for cooking purposes. Sometimes people use it for their eggs later on or their beans. So there's several different ways to dispose of it, but we never want to dispose of it down the drain. Again, the same thing happens. So you have fats, oils, and greases, and it will eventually cool. And what happens when the bacon grease cools? It becomes solid. And then eventually it's going to cause a thick layer down your pipe, which can cause a sewer backup later on. Is it okay to throw flushable wipes down the toilet? And I hope you guys said no. It's okay to use them, it's just not okay to dispose them down the toilet. So anytime you look at toilet paper, what happens to it when it gets wet? So it dissolves. The toilet paper ends up dissolving, but the flushable wipes do not. So they stay whole. Anytime that you use several flushable wipes and you flush them down the toilet, they have a tendency to get clogged because they don't dissolve as easily as toilet paper. It's okay to use flushable wipes. It's just not okay to throw them down the toilet. So we just ask that you dispose of them in the trash can. So anytime that you flush your toilet, take a bath, wash your clothes, where do you think that water goes? So it leaves your home and it actually goes into what we call a wastewater treatment facility. In Rio Rancho, we actually have 3 wastewater treatment facilities. I'm pretty sure all you guys know where the park above is. So we have one of our main ones are right next to the park above. That's one of our wastewater treatment facilities. We also have one off of Sarah, and we also have another one that's kind of by where waste management is at. That's going to be our 3 main wastewater treatment facilities. So when we talk about a wastewater treatment facility, this is actually going to be our wastewater treatment process. So the very first place it actually comes from will be your homes, obviously your businesses, restaurants, things like that. It'll come from your homes into the pipes, the sewer pipes, and the first place it actually hits are the bar screens, okay? So the bar screen allows us to get the large sediment, like toilet paper, things that you weren't supposed to throw down the toilet or the sinks. All that bar screen does is it catches the big stuff, okay? Once it leaves the bar screen, it actually goes into a grit chamber, and what the grit chamber does is it settles out things that are a little bit more dense, like sand, grit, coffee grounds, eggshells, things like that. These things are actually settled and they go to for disposal at the landfill. After it leaves the grit chamber, it actually goes to a primary clarification tank. The primary clarification tank has a huge scraping tool, and all the big things settle to the bottom, and at the very bottom of the clarification tank, it will scrape all that sludge into a hole. So as it's turning, it's scraping all the sludge down here to where it can be dewatered and taken through the digester to take to the landfill. It also has one on the top as well. So the fats, the oils, and the greases actually settle to the top, and that's what this top hand actually kind of squeegees it and scrapes that off. But there's a little bit of a trough that it goes through and it will be disposed of. So only thing that comes through is actually the cleaned water. And then after the primary clarification tank is the aeration basin. And what the aeration basin does is it's mixed with oxygen and for the microorganisms to be eaten up. And then anything, all the rest of the heavy stuff goes down to the bottom as activated sludge. The remaining comes through the final clarification tank, which again, it does the same thing as the primary, but it should be pretty clean by the time it gets to the final clarification tank. And anything that does settle to the bottom, again, it's scraped. It goes all the way down here to be dewatered, back to the digester, and then to be disposed of at the landfill. The remaining of the clean water actually goes down for final treatment, which is hit with chlorine or UV ray, depending on the treatment plant. And then we, again, take some to the Rio Grande, and we take some to be re-injected, and then we take some for reclaimed water. So that is going to be the process of your wastewater treatment facility. The city of Rio Rancho is actually the first city in New Mexico to actually re-inject their wastewater. So we clean it up. We re-inject about up to 1 million gallons a day back into the aquifer. And then we also use some of that reclaimed water that we get from our wastewater treatment plant. We actually use that for our parks. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the purple hydrants. The purple hydrants are actually considered reclaimed water. So that's wastewater that's completely cleaned up, not good for you to drink, but good enough to dispose of, to water our parks, and re-inject back into the aquifer. So if you've ever been in Cabazon Park, you would notice that there are some purple hydrants or even some purple covers or even some purple signs that say reclaimed water, do not drink. That's exactly what that is. So reclaimed water is our cleaned up wastewater. Every time you flush the toilet, take a bath, wash dishes, anything of that nature, all of that is going to be reclaimed water eventually as we clean it up and then send it back to our parks. So now we can go ahead and start with our presentation. We are going to pretend that we are wastewater treatment operators today. And a couple of different things that you're going to need is you're going to need 6 cups. You're going to need some Play-Doh because you need to make little poops. Okay. You're going to need some kind of a mesh screen. That way it can kind of let some liquid go through but hold some of the bigger stuff. You're also going to need some trash, dirt, and pee, which is food coloring and water. And we will go ahead and get started. The first thing that you're going to want to do is grab your toilet, and you're going to want to make sure you have all the rest of your items. And what's the first thing that you think of when you think of your toilet? First thing you see is going to be water. So you pour your water into your toilet. Second thing is actually going to be the pee. So you're going to put your pee into the water, or into the toilet, excuse me. Okay, the next thing you're going to put is your poop. Now you can make your poop as funny as you want. You can make little poop emojis, you can make them balls, you can make long ones, however you want to do it. Just go ahead and make little poops and put them into your toilet. And then we're going to go ahead and do trash. Then we're going to have toilet paper, probably some flushable wipes, things that aren't supposed to go down the toilet. And then also we're going to pretend that somebody threw your brother's G.I. Joe, your mom's phone went down the toilet, let's say false teeth, jewelry, things like that we're going to put down into the toilet with the trash. Make sure all the trash goes in there. Okay. And then we're going to pretend that somebody took off their shoe after playing outside, and we have the dirt, and they dumped their entire shoe that was filled with dirt into the toilet. Lastly, what do you do to the toilet once you're done using the restroom? You flush. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to flush our toilet. Okay, we're going to make sure that we've got that going pretty good. Nice and lovely. Let's see if we can see it better this way. All right, so now our toilet's is going through the sewer system and onto the wastewater treatment plant. So again, we talked about the first place that when it leaves your home, it actually hits the wastewater treatment plant, and it's the bar screen. When you put the bar screen over your water cup, just make sure to leave a little hole in there or an indentation, so that way when you pour your water, the contents of your toilet doesn't overflow. So we want to make sure everything comes out. Okay. Once you're done taking everything from the toilet into the bar screen, this is what it's going to look like. You guys can kind of see the purpose of the bar screen, again, is to catch all the really big items, and then allowing the rest of the contents from the wastewater to go through. And then secondly, you're going to go ahead and you're going to grab your trash cup, and you're going to dig through all this and take all your trash out. So the cell phone, the jewelry, false teeth, your brother or sister's toys. We're going to take all that out, the toilet paper or flushable wipes, all that needs to come out. So you got to kind of dig through your okay. I think that's about it. Okay. So this is your trash cup. Again, this goes for dewatering, where it squeezes all the contents of the, like the sludge, and it goes to the landfill. And then also, we're going to take the remaining, oh, I still have some trash in here. So you're going to take the remaining, your poops, and you're going to put it into your sludge cup. Now if you look at your water cup, you can see the difference where it's starting to settle. So the heavier items are going to settle to the bottom, and then the cleaner water actually is able to go through for final processing. So that is going to be the process for your wastewater treatment. How many of you guys would like to be wastewater treatment operators when you grow up? You guys get to clean this lovely bar screen. Wouldn't that be fun? Yes. Super awesome. We need wastewater treatment operators. I mean, everybody uses the bathroom. We all clean our homes. We all clean our clothes. They will always be needed. So think about it. It's not that bad of a job. And you get to play with poo. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being a part of my day, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.